What is up, everyone? 2 minutes in the box with Gordo. We are here with a brand new episode on a glorious Saturday. And what a crazy three-way trade last night that occurred around 9 o'clock between the Colorado Avalanche, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Colorado Avalanche traded one of their best players and one of the best players of the game, Mikko Rantanen, to the Carolina Hurricanes for Jack Drury, Martin Niches, and two draft picks, a second round pick, and a fourth round pick. I mean, what a wild and crazy trade. I mean, Mika Rantanen's got 64 goals, 64 points, I should say, 25 goals, 39 assists, 49 games played, 619 games played with the Colorado Avalanche, has Stanley Cup champion, a back-to-back 100-point season. Unbelievable. It's going to be a wild finish. And the Colorado Avalanche acquiring Jack Drury and Marnichis and William Carrier, who's going to be out on the LTIR for now. And the Carolina Hurricanes also acquiring Taylor Hall, former number one overall pick and MVP. And I'll tell you, that is pretty ballsy and bold. And half of Mika Rantanen's salary went to the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks acquired a third round draft pick. I'll tell you this, the Chicago Blackhawks, they got fleeced. They got fleeced. I mean, oh my. Just a third round pick of this year's draft. And the Colorado Avalanche acquired a second round pick in 2025, a fourth round pick in 2026. And, Colorado, they made moves earlier this season. They got Mackenzie Blackwood from the San Jose Sharks, and their goaltending's improved. But the reason why this trade happened for a reason is that they could not afford Mika Rantanen. And, Cal McCarr, Nathan McKinnon's salary cap hit is unbelievably high. And the question is Mika Rantanen going to be a rental player or is he going to be a long-term player? Carolina Hurricanes, Tom Dundon and his group, they've been very cautiously on the money and they are very conservative on how much a player gets paid. And I mean, Mika Rantanen's best friend is Sebastian Aho, and it would be nice to see, Carolina to get a high power player and Mika Rantanen on a long term contract extension. And Taylor Hall, this is like his sixth or seventh team in the NHL. He coming from Chicago and this was a big shocking trade that rocked the hockey world last night. That was just crazy. And then on top of that, we get a wild and crazy trade rumor with the Pittsburgh Penguins that Sidney Crosby was going to go to the Colorado Avalanche. That's never going to happen. Never going to happen. I mean, it could happen, but it's never going to happen. But yeah, Taylor Hall, he played 46 games so far this season, 9 goals, 15 assists, 721 points, 275 goals, 446 assists in his 878 games played in his career. He's played with the Oilers, Devils, Coyotes, Sabres, Bruins, and Blackhawks. I mean, boy, that is just And and I believe that Carolina, this is going to be a typical and classical type first round matchup in the playoffs. Potentially, it's going to be the Devils and the Hurricanes. And this matchup is going definitely 7 games. And I got to say, Carolina is definitely going to go to the second round. And they could be a possibly juggernaut in the Stanley Cup finals. And I'll tell you that trade is a you win and you lose type of trade. And boy, Nietzsche is going to be a RFA again the following season. And Jack Drury, he's a good bottom six player. That's going to help Casey Middlestad, who's been struggling first half of the season so far. And I'll tell this is in this game today, we are definitely seeing Colorado play Boston at 1 o'clock. and then the Islanders are playing the Hurricanes tonight at UBS Arena. I mean, all four of these guys are playing today, which is going to be a unique and fun day in the NHL. This right here is going to be an exciting game of the day. Like today's games are just going to be amazingly exciting. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. And the Colorado Boston game will be on NHL Network, and MSG and FanDuel Sports South will be hosting the Carolina and New York Rangers. And we've got a heavy set of games today. And Ovechkin is 20 goals away of breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time mark. This is amazing stuff, guys. This is straight up amazing. And a retooled Washington Capitals squad. I mean, everybody thought, this team was done for. They were going to be in a rebuild type of thing, but instead it turned out to be a one for one, trade, and it worked out both ends. It really did. It really worked out both both out. It worked both sides, between Washington and LA. That right there, that was a very good trade. And trading Darcy Kemper for Pierre-Luc Dubois, that was a very good trade that really definitely, for both teams suited needs. Wow. I mean, yeah, and I gotta say, tomorrow, I mean, these NHL rumors are gonna be flying by crazy. And we're definitely going to see, with the Washington Capitals, I mean, they've got a difficult task in hand. You've got two right-handed gloves, but you got to keep one of them. You definitely got to keep one of those goalies. And whoever is the most affordable goaltender, I mean, you've got, you know, basically Aiden Hill, Jordan Binnington, that's on St. Louis and Vegas, but Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson's been playing spectacular. He has been playing spectacularly. And Charlie Lindgren, he's been playing out of his mind as well. And we're definitely going to see like a big payday between one of those goalies. I don't know. I gotta say, if I were the Washington Capitals right now, I personally would take Logan Thompson. He is a Vezina trophy candidate in my eyes. 22, 2, and 3. Couple shutouts. This guy's been playing lights out. And I gotta let Charlie Lindgren go. I think Charlie Lindgren's a 1B goaltender, and he is definitely going to be a commodity in the offseason. He is definitely a commodity in the offseason. But I want to go back to the whole Chicago, Carolina, and Colorado. I mean, yesterday I was saying, oh yeah, Mika Rantanen going to the Blackhawks, but they did get half of his salary. And if Carolina does not get Rantanen for a long-term contract in the offseason, there will be a major contract. I mean, he wants 14 half. It's all because of the Leon Draisaitl contract extension. I gotta say, we're going to see Mika Rantanen walking out, and Carolina's got to get some compensation in return after they lost a couple of draft picks in the trade and a couple of players. Overall, I'm gonna say Mika Rantanen gets 14 million. He's got to go to a team that's got a ton of cap space and a team that's got the best situation for him in the long run. I mean, it's a risk you got to take. An 8-year deal, 14, maybe 15 million. average salary. I mean, that is pretty ballsy and bold by whoever wants a player like Mika Rantanen. I mean, he's gotten a couple 100-point seasons in his back as Stanley Cup champ, and he's definitely got all the tools in the toolkit. And I gotta say, this guy is phenomenal. And boy, oh boy, I'd say what a night that was for, the whole NHL. I mean, just wild. All right, let's talk about the standings right now. Got Toronto Maple Leafs, Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning. That's your 1, 2, 3 in the Atlantic. And the Panthers are trailing 3 points behind the Maple Leafs and five for the Lightning for against Toronto, who's got 62 points. And they are the top of the Atlantic and the Metro. You've got the Capitals at 71 points, 33 wins, 10 losses, five OTs. And 8 points behind is the Carolina Hurricanes with 30, 16, and 3. And the Devils are third with 60 points with 27, 17, and 6. And oh, wow. And then the wild card, you've got the Boston Bruins. They are creeping behind the Lightning, 1 point behind, and they're 5 points behind the Panthers. I mean, there is so much parity and closeness right now. And look who's at the second wild card spot, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Many pundits and critics have said, "Oh yeah, this team is not going to make the playoffs, and you're losing Johnny Gaudreau in a horrendous accident, and it's still heartbreaking. But they are playing for each other. This team is going to be a somewhat of a surprise." And I'm looking at these goal differentials. I mean, the Bruins are at -22, and they've had the weakest free agency market, acquiring Zadorov and Lindholm. I mean, that did not help them so far. I mean, a goals differential of -22, that is not attractive at all. And we got a very close race in the East. I mean, the Rangers and the Senators and Canadians both have 52 points. The Flyers are 50. The Red Wings are chugging along. They got 49 points. The Penguins got 48. The Islanders at 47. That's very close. And then, no surprise here, the Buffalo Sabres are a dumpster fire once again. And it's not going as well for Lindy Ruff's second return to the Buffalo Sabres. And let's go to the West. I mean, Winnipeg's got the best record in the Western Conference with 30, 14, and 3 with 69 points. And you got Dallas at second place. I mean, Minnesota's creeping up at 1 point behind with 60. And boy, I got to say Minnesota getting back healthy favor and getting Kirill the Thrill back in the lineup. I think they're going to be creeping up, and this is going to be a very anticlimactic, close finish in the Central Division once again. And now we got in the Western Conference, very close between the Vegas Golden Knights with 64 points and the Edmonton Oilers with 63 points. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that is close as you can get. They're basically identical records, but Vegas has got one more game ahead. 30, 15, and 4 for Vegas, 30, 15, and 3 for the Oilers. So darn close. And LA's in third place with 57 points. Colorado, they are still in the hunt. I mean, they're still playing well, and they got 58 points, and they are creeping 2 points behind the Minnesota Wild. They're close right there. And the Calgary Flames, I mean, John Huberdeau, he's having a bounce back year. He's got 20 goals right now. This guy is bouncing back. Mackenzie Weegar, he has been playing his lights out. And Dustin Wolf, he could be my rookie of the year. He's been playing lights out as well. And 53 points. And then you got the Canucks and the Blues with 50 points each. They are close, but the Canucks have been another disappointment in my opinion. And they have been having a lot of issues with Pedersen and JT Miller. I mean, it's getting messy over there. And they almost pulled off the trade with JT Miller with Carolina, but that fell through. That's why we saw that major trade with Colorado, Carolina, and Chicago. Yeah, and Utah is playing catch up, and they are creeping about 1 point behind St. Louis and Vancouver, and they are 4 points behind the final wild card spot. Yeah, this right here, I mean, San Jose and Chicago are dumpster fires, but I'll say this: Nashville is the biggest disappointment in the NHL. I mean, you got Brady Shea, Jonathan Marchessault, Steven Stamkos, and everyone knows this by now. Free agency doesn't help your team long term. It's all about building through the draft and making sure you have a steady and strong structure and roster so that your teams could thrive and survive the punishment of an 82 game season. And yeah, I mean, Stamkos is kind of picking it up, and so is Marceau and Shea. But listen, that's rebuild or retooling. This is not, it's not going to work out. It didn't work out. And what a waste of money. And I hate to say this, but that is by far one of the worst off seasons. I mean, look at Winnipeg. They're the top team in the West, and they only spend like $7 million on free agency. And I mean, money can't buy you championships. It's all about development and building through the draft and building a strong roster that you can make sure they meld and gel and they build solid foundations. Not this, oh yeah, we're going to take a certain pieces away and then we're going to bring in a high salary and highly anticipated free agents to make sure your team is going to contend. It always backfires. I mean, look at the New York Rangers. They never draft well. Big market teams, sometimes they draft well. Sometimes they're just like, all right, we're going to ignore these players. And oh yeah, look at the Florida Marlins. Look at the Miami Marlins. You had a lot of talent in the pool for many years and you just kick those guys to the curb and trade them, and then they're thriving in their prime years, and you guys get guys will only last like 2 to 3 years tops. And you've got to be very constructively smart when it comes to building a perennial powerhouse in all sports. You've got to have, you know, everything in the toolkit. You can't have anything missing. If you have things missing, oh man, that is over for you, man. That is game over for you. Whoa, I mean, just just straight up. I mean, what a crazy night. I mean, the Colorado Avalanche, in my opinion, they sort of won this trade because you got two draft picks in return. Who knows what the value is going to be in the second round of this year and the fourth round next year. And you having Jack Drury and Martin Nietzsche. I mean, Nietzsche is going to have a career year. I mean, he's going to be RFA. I mean, I bet he's going to have another bridge deal. He was like, there was always that rumor that he never wanted to sign long term in Carolina. It was always a bridge deal. He wanted to make sure he can get his bang for his dollar. And let's just see what happens to the rest of the season. I mean, we got games starting any moment now, and we're going to see how this trade makes an effect and impact for these two teams tonight. And don't forget, we got 1 o'clock, you've got Boston, Colorado, and then you've got Carolina at the Islanders at 7. And this is going to be a fun day of hockey to watch. And whoever wins this trade, we'll have to see. And Carolina, I mean, they got the recipe to win right now. They've got the tools, they got everything. But my thing is, can they keep Mika Rantanen a long-term contract? Will they get the checkbook out ready? Who knows? Let's see how this affects and impact each team now for the rest of the season. All right, I'd like to thank everyone from my audience. This has been 2 Minutes in the Box with Gordo. We'll be back here on Monday with a new episode of 2 Minutes in the Box with Gordo. Oh, wait, I'm just kidding. We'll be back here tomorrow to reveal the results of what went down in the NHL. Have a great day, everybody, and God bless.